I think Chris, you know, convincingly looks like Jonathan's brother, and he has you know, from a size point of view, he's small enough to sort of work as Ben too. But Ben, the way Ben was written, he was probably a lot younger than Chris is. So Chris is kind of playing him up in age a bit. So he's maybe there's only a year difference between Paul and Ben. And so I think that again, Chris is similar to Jonathan, where there's a sort of he's sort of playing himself to a degree. He's a natural at doing that, and is quite understated. So therefore, works very well for film acting.
Well, Ben is physically challenged because he was in a car crash with his brother Paul. So Ben, he's like another weight on Paul's shoulders, metaphorically and literally, because he carries him around all the time. I found it challenging because I got to focus on stopping my legs from moving. Seems I'm quite an energetic person playing football, so I've got to focus on stopping that and focus on the acting side of it.
Does it do your head in?
What?
You know, your wheelchair and that.
Sometimes. There's nothing I can do about it though. Be better when I get my crutches.
Does your brother still feel bad about it?
Not his fault. He never wanted me to go. I persuaded him to let me in the car. There's a really good atmosphere on set because Julian has cast the parts so well that there's loads of different personalities, and it's not that we clash, but we like all sort of blend, and because we're all blending, we all like work together, and we've all become really close, and we've actually formed a gang. We're this gang in the film. We've actually all formed a gang. We've all become friends, even with Kevin, who plays Peter. But when they say action, he turns into an enemy, basically.
Well, Kevin played the lead in the last horror movie, and after the last horror movie, he did one or two other films, and he sort of made an impact with last horror movie. He won 2 awards for Best Actor in New York and Buenos Aires, and he's somebody that I really enjoyed working with.
Julian and I have a good relationship. You know, we don't always agree on everything, but sometimes I think that can be a good thing. The first film I did for him was the last horror movie, and I only met him on that. I went for the screen test just like a lot of other actors, and got the role, and so we worked quite hard on that. Julian had a good visualization of that film and how he wanted it to be, and we worked very well on that, and that was a very intense shoot. Again, like this one, you know, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks I think we had on the last horror movie. Very short filming process for a very intense film. And when you're in it a lot and you're the main protagonist driving the story along, it's pretty intense stuff.
It was difficult to nail this character because it's such a radically different character to Max Parry from last horror movie. I mean, Max is sophisticated and urbane, and Peter in Summer Scars is a sort of a disaffected, mentally ill sort of guy in the woods.
I've tried to sort of stay within the zone of someone who's very confused, very isolated, but finds an opportunity here with these children to become more than himself possibly. It's like maybe he can be social with these people because they're not adults. Him trying to be sociable with adults would be a far more difficult thing, but with children maybe he can do this and maybe he can handle this and he can be a stronger sort of person with all of this, but he falls into this whole world of mucking it all up really, and loses control of the situation and loses control of these kids, and then he doesn't know how to handle it.
Tell me something, Ben. Have you ever been in a situation like this before?
No.
Well, I have. And it's never that bastard simple. So do us both a favour, eh? You just sit there on those crooked little legs of yours and keep your crooked little mouth shut!
I like working with him because he's very energetic, always coming up with ideas and contributions and ideas, sometimes too many, but I prefer to be given too much than too little, because then I can always refine it.
I always take my hat off to him with his enthusiasm of getting these films together and putting them together. I mean, they are truly a British film, you know, totally British cast, British money, and despite whatever the budget is, it's all there. It's being shot here, and here we are. So yeah, take my hat off to him.
As a mid-2 shot.
Yeah.
And then when Bingo jumps out and pushes him down, we'll be panning down with him.
You're panning down with him?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm the fight coordinator for the film, so I'm just making sure that all the fights that are happening, all the conflict situations are happening, that everybody's comfortable with it, and so nobody gets hurt. At the moment, touch wood, nobody's got hurt yet. Most of it's done on handheld, which is great, you know, because you can really have a lot of freedom on handheld. There's hardly anything that's happened here that has been locked off, so to speak, you know, just in one stationary position like we are now. You know, everything's just that really random, moving around, you know, the real disjointed feel that you get, you know, it keeps it nice and busy, keeps it nice and fresh.
The first time you're going to see a director get his hands dirty?
First time, yeah.
I always get my hands dirty. And I get told off by the crew for it.
Health and safety, very important. Being young people, they get very excited. So you kind of like have to keep a level on that, but at the same time you've then got to let them roll. You've got to let them go, so then they feel comfortable, they get confident in what they're doing. But it is keeping that structure all the way through.
I'm about to get tackled on the floor.
Tuck that down your right hip.
About me?
Yeah.
Not the other way, innit?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, as long as it's there like that.
All stuffed up.
Oi, leave him alone, Bing.
Get up here.
What the hell? The production team was sort of put together as a combination of people that I'd worked with previously and new people that I hadn't met before. But I'm producing this as well, but I from a directing point of view, I needed to delegate. I needed to surround myself with enough people not to ever be concerned about the production side of things. Then with the DOP, Bob Williams, he was at film school with me at Bournemouth Film School, and we've always stayed in touch. And Bob did some pickups for me on Darklands, and also shot something for me for BBC Two called A Mutter of Voices. So we had enough experience of working together to know that we would make a good team. He's up against it because he's using available light, but you know, he's willing to accept that compromise and get the best out of the material given his limited resources. And then Kant Pan, who's our editor, he approached me after reading about the project in the trades, and I said, you know, because he's an Oscar-nominated editor for The Crying Game, I said, Kant, you know, we're way below your radar, and he said, well, look, you know, it's an interesting project, and you know, I'd like to do it. So so that's really how Kant became involved.
We'll go from there. So less of a run up on the bike then. Yep.
Yeah, start from there.
Start up here. Yep.
Okay, let's try it.
They're always, you know, they're always tricky. You have to be careful. And it is a simple flip, and we're okay. But yeah, it's the it's the timing of the bike. I don't trust these two lads.
Turning. Action.
I think that was a good take, that one.
Not scaring you, is it? No, faster, Paul, faster!